Albert Tait in this nation. You can say she being those I'm 72 years old, and I have been married to my wife for 53 years, and I have 5 children and about 40 grandkids, grandchildren and great-grandchildren, about 40 of them. That's quite a few. But I hear I want to man pieces. Oh, our mothers. You know, a lot of people don't realize that how important our moms are. That you know that God has given women to give birth to babies. You know. So that means that none of us would be here if it wasn't for our moms. Nobody. And our moms wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our grandmothers. Grandmothers wouldn't have been there if it wasn't for our great grandmothers, and so on. So it's up to us to honor our moms, and I guess our wives too, our partners, and our daughters, and our granddaughters, and our great granddaughters. You know, because they are the givers of life. And a lot of people, especially young people nowadays, don't realize that. There's a lot of young people don't respect their moms, and never mind, they don't respect women or girls at all. Simply not realizing how important our moms are, our sisters are, our aunties, are everybody, all the women folks. Because without them, like I said, we wouldn't be here. You know, it's kind of scary when I hear young people, you know, calling their moms by their first name, and their grannies, you know, and it's kind of scary especially when you hear them swear at them. There's a lot of young people nowadays that they swear at them. They swear at their grannies, they swear at their moms, and they call them by their first name, and there's no relationship. People don't know how to relate anymore. Back when, you know, I was 11 years old when my mother died. And that was the first time that I knew that my mom was Margaret. I didn't know her name until she died, and they said her name was Margaret Tait. And that's the first time I realized my mom's name. It was always my mother, my Nkawi, you know, ni mama, you know, kape. So people back then didn't know their mom's first name, or at least I didn't anyway. So it's kind of different when we lost how to relate to one another, especially our moms, especially our grannies, our aunties, you know. You know that there's a lot of, you go to court, you go and stand in court over there, there's a lot of men in line that are going to court for hurting their women. And that's scary. You know that there's a lot of young women that are getting hurt. And it has a lot to do with drugs too. It has a lot to do with alcohol. It has a lot to do with young women not being taught about life, not being taught how to respect themselves, how to respect others, you know, because especially when young men don't know how to respect women. So that, you know, as a result of it, we have a lot of babies having babies. Simply because most of the time they don't know. They don't know about life. Nobody's telling them. So it's kind of hard to talk this way, because I do have a lot I'm talking from my daughters, I'm talking from my granddaughters and my great-granddaughters. At least I try and teach them, I try and talk to them about it. My wife talks to them about life, about women's life. And I try to talk to my sons and my grandsons regarding to be good to women, how to treat women instead of hurting them. And it's kind of it's kind of hard when you're living in a community where everybody is sort of related somehow. And so I'm just basically talking this way because I would see that women shouldn't get hurt anymore. That young women shouldn't get anymore. Little girls shouldn't be hurt. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, but there's a lot of old men out there that are not well. There's a lot of old men that are buying young women, and let's face it, it is happening, and that's kind of hurts me because those people have grandchildren too. They have granddaughters and they have great-granddaughters, and yet they're misusing young women. Instead of trying to help them, they're abusing them. So that behavior is passed on. That behavior is passed on to everybody. It's not as if it's been happening just now. It's been happening from way back. But each generation that behavior gets stronger. For example, when my dad drank, it was hard. It was hard when my father drank. But he quit after my mom died. He had to wait until my mom died to quit drinking. And then when I drank, it was 2 times harder. I made it 2 times harder for my family and everybody else around me. And then my children, it's 4 times harder. Now there's all kinds of stuff. There's drugs. There's all kinds of other stuff that's there because it affects, like I said, each generation that behavior escalates. I haven't drank in 39 years, and I still see it in my family system. I've been trying to break that system for the last 39 years, and it's still there. The alcohol is still there. The drugs are there. Those behaviors are strong to break because they escalate every generation. Escalates harder. It gets harder and harder. But
come to the office. Jerica Bolster.
Let's say that last part over again so just say how it escalates.
I was just saying that each generation, I said that behavior escalates. And if you look around in our community, it's stronger. There's more drugs. There's more drug dealers. There's more bootleggers. There's more. And it's and we're always blaming these people. If nobody uses drugs, if nobody uses alcohol, then nobody's going to sell alcohol and drugs. So it's not all their fault. It's us too that we need to caution our kids. We need to help our kids stay away from alcohol and drugs.
It's gonna be cut on the tape, so we gotta stop. So that last thought again, if you can remember.
You're breaking my mind.
I know, and you don't have to. We can cut it just before. This is a big.
I was saying that if people don't use drugs and if they don't use alcohol, then there will be no drug dealers and there will be no bootleggers. So it's just that keep them going. What else can I say? We can't always completely forget the drug dealers and blame everybody that's doing that. Because it's us, it's people that are buying from them and that kept them going. And you know, it's scary when there's gangsters around protecting their territory. And then these people call themselves warriors, and there's people that call them posses, and they call them blood. They call themselves everything. But you know, a warrior never hurt a woman or a child. They're supposed to provide for them and protect them. But that's not how it is. They're selling drugs. They're selling little girls. They're doing everything to hurt people, and that's not what it's about. And this is what we're trying to teach our young people about how to relate to one another, how to relate especially to their moms, to the women folks, and how to relate to their grandfathers and grandmothers. You know, these young people, they steal from their moms and dads. They steal from their grandparents. They steal from everybody, and that's not the way it's supposed to happen. You know, it's kind of you know, they get beautiful gifts from their moms and dads and their grannies and stuff, and then they go and sell that stuff. They go and sell it, and you know, that's just like stealing something. For me, anyway, it's just like stealing something from my dad. And my dad gave me something out of his love, and I go and sell it and for drugs or for anything else. So for me, that's stealing. That's what part of stealing that I'm talking about. But not only that, but they actually take money and they actually take stuff from their homes and go and sell it. And then they go and steal some other stuff from other people's homes and then go and sell that. That's all because of drugs and alcohol. So we need to start teaching our young people who they are. And we need to start teaching our people their language, our young people. They need to know where they come from. I mean, we come from people that survived in this land before the white man came. You know, they were also given how to worship God, the Creator. God is not stupid. He will not create a nation of people and not give them how to praise Him and how to pray to Him. And it's just that first people that came here didn't understand that. So we need to get back into how to relate to one another, how to love one another. Thank you. I hope I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I'm not going against anybody. I'm just trying to tell it like it is. So I thank you very much for listening to me. Hey.